Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, welcome. And thank you so very much for joining us. You know, it is an absolute honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be here with you all. And as you are sending us all of your high vibes and your amazing healing energy and your good wishes and your love, know that it's circling and we're all experiencing it, we're all absorbing it. We have a very special guest today for this video cast, this podcast. Bruce Barnes. Bruce Barnes and I have known each other now for some years, nearly 5. He's an exceptional expert in the faculty, created 2 programs we call sessions here inside Positive Prime. And as you know, I'm Kim Serafini, the founder, the creator, the CEO, but I'm a little bit of the mastermind these days, but there are lots of other really clever people involved: software engineers, creative innovators, people who are hacking in the transformative technology space. We've got awesome coaches, therapists, guides, guardians, healers, hypnotherapists, you name it. We've got exceptional people in this community here today. We've got, hello Donna in Florida, hello beautiful. All right, so Bruce, I'm going to hand it over to you and place it on speaker view. You know what? Give us an opportunity to really get to know you. Like, who are you really in your core, in every cell in your body, and help us to understand why this is such a gorgeous opportunity for us to spend some time with you, and let us know, hopefully, what we might gain from listening in and leaning in and being very mindful and present for the next 20 to 30 minutes, and that we'll bounce off each other and we'll show you a session and we'll do all sorts of other groovy things, and maybe there'll be a little activity or two, but take it away. I love you. I think you're a gorgeous human being. You're really a brilliant man. You're very clever. I really respect and admire you, and your story is exceptional and captivating. So I want everyone to hear it. All right, so that's enough from me. Handing it over. Goodbye.
Oh, thank you, Kim. I love you. You're so awesome. And so let's see, telling my story. Let's see, how many days do we have to share that? Oh boy. Yeah, so those of you that may not know me, I am in the Seattle, Washington area, USA, and West Coast. So I was born and raised in this area, and I had some serious health issues that started when I was a teenager. And in 10th grade, I was physically in and out of the hospital about half the school year. And about a year later, I wound up having surgery. And the day after surgery, they got me out of bed and put me on a scale to weigh me, and I weighed 65 pounds. I'm 5'10" tall. So I was literally skin and bones. And so after the surgery, well, back up a little bit. So I had always had like pretty vivid, what I considered daydreams about what I would be doing in the future. And, you know, that's all I considered it was, just I'm daydreaming. Well, a few months before I got sick, when I tried to visualize something, all I'd get was a black screen, like a dark movie theater. And it kind of freaked me out a little bit, but after the surgery, I could visualize again. And when I was at home recovering, I was telling my dad, you know, it's every once in a while, I can kind of remember this voice in my head saying, no, not yet. You're not through here. And he put down what he was reading and said, well, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. I was like, what? What do you mean? He says, well, they almost lost you twice on the operating table. I was like, okay. So I just thought, okay, I must have been on the verge or something of crossing over. But after the surgery, you know, I was in pretty good health for many years, and then wound up having more surgeries and that. And in 1987, I wound up going in for another surgery, which I thought, okay, another week in the hospital, another week or so recovering at home. Not so. This is, I had multiple complications and wound up being in the hospital for almost a year. and almost died a few times, was in a coma for about a week. And it's just, but I mean, that, ultimately, we figured out what was going on and got the surgery and that. But just before I went into that coma, that's when I really discovered how powerful the mind is. That was kind of my turning point. I'd always been positive in that in my most of my life and that, but just before going into what turned out to be a coma, I watched a special on the hospital TV channel, and it was with Dr. Bernie Siegel, who wrote the book Love, Medicine, and Miracles. And he was an oncologist that he would teach his patients how to use visualization to, in combination with his treatment and that, and also to just improve their health. So he'd tell them stuff like, I want you to visualize your body killing off the cancer cells. And there's several different little cute stories in that with his patients. Like one of them is, well, I'm a Puritan, I can't kill anything. It's like, okay, well, visualize your body gathering up the cancer cells and throwing them out of the body. So he did that and he got better. So at any rate, I took that to heart, and I knew whatever was going on with my body, it was attacking my liver. So I started visualizing my body filtering and cleansing my liver. That's about the time I started going into the coma. The first stage was I couldn't move. I was paralyzed for about a day and a half or so. And the next stage was I couldn't talk. And a day or so later, I couldn't open my eyes, but I'm fully conscious. So a day or so, however, shortly after that is evidently when I went into the coma. But I kept visualizing, and that my body was filtering the toxins out and just sending positive energy throughout my body. So eventually I woke up, and one of the nurses was kind of surprised that I was awake, but said, well, you were in a coma for about a week. And I was like, I was? Okay. I said, well, we didn't pull you out of it. So were you doing something? And I says, yeah, I've been visualizing. He said, well, keep doing it. So at any rate, that's when I realized just how powerful the mind is with visualization. And with also my health issues, I got more focused on different wellness products that could help me and others, and just really got more into the positive mindset and that. And then, of course, years later, I've been wanting to kind of spin off. The Actualize Your Full Potential was my tagline for my business. And I wanted to kind of spin that off as like a personal development and coaching platform. And that's just about the time that I came across your platform. And I thought, this is perfect. So I was excited about having my first session with called Actualize Your Full Potential created. And then, of course, I'm not sure, it's getting close to a year ago that I had the second one, the Unlimited Potential, created for the students and that. But so that's kind of my background on how I got involved and what my motivation was. But this is, I've always been wanting to help others as well as myself to actualize your full potential, and excited to use different talent and resources that I have access to do that. And I'm just really excited to have Positive Prime in my resources.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Bruce. So ultimately, did the specialists, the doctors, the healthcare professionals who were looking after you discover, in fact, what was wrong with you, and you were then totally cured as a young man?
Well, I have Crohn's disease, so the inflammation in the intestine and that. So they say there's technically no cure, just kind of go into remission. Well, what was going on in that year-long stay in the hospital, because of the prepping for the surgery and that, they wanted to have my intestine at rest. So it was just liquid IV, high protein IV fluids and that. Well, part of what they were giving me was lipids, liquid fat cells, the essential fats. And it turned out that's what was attacking my liver. So as soon as we realized that, we stopped it, and of course had to my liver functions had went through the roof, and that's so we had to wait several months for it to come back down to normal to do the final surgery. But when I when I realized, hey, I bet you that's these lipids that are doing this, and the doctor said, well, that's a possibility. We use it with cancer patients and that, but there's a small percentage that have a reaction. And I'm thinking, hello, because of I had several surgeries just before I started getting jaundice, and they assumed that I had gotten some bad blood in one of the surgeries. They didn't even consider the other possibilities.
Isn't it interesting? What I hear is that it actually took a couple of months for your body to naturally repair itself through your visualization processes. And most of us want
over a year.
Yeah, we want healing to happen miraculously overnight. What I love about your story is that you were patient and understanding enough and gave your body the months and the years that were necessary. Bruce, you also then went on to become a very fancy engineer at a place like Boeing. So tell us a little bit about your actual career.
Well, well, because I had been in and out of the hospital in the 10th grade, the doctors had told me, don't even go put Bruce in his junior year of high school, just let his body recover and that. So then that's about the time I had the surgery. And I thought, okay, I can go back a year or so behind my classmates, but I already know what I want to do, because in the 10th grade, when I was able to attend school, I had a couple classes that I was really interested in, and one was electronics, and the other one was computer programming. And so this is how I made my career choice. Thought, okay, electronics. Back then, TVs weighed a ton. They were massive tubes. So I thought, okay, let's see, electronics, repairing television sets. And it's like carrying these giant TV sets. It's like, okay, computer programming, sitting in front of the computer, typing on a keyboard. I can do that. So I found a vocational school near me that had almost a 2-year program. And they, towards the end, would help you, set up interviews with different companies. And I'd always knew that I was going to work for one of 2 companies, and Boeing was one of them. And that was my last interview with them. And I got hired, and I was 20 years old. And, that was back when computers were the mainframes. We didn't have personal computers, and the punch cards on the mainframe, programming and that. And then it evolved, and we got one of the first IBM PCs in the company. We had a whopping 10 megabyte hard drive. But the thing just evolved in computer programming and then web development, and just kept going. And I was there for just about 37 years. And in fact, about a week from now, it will be 5 years since I left the company. I took their voluntary layoff early retirement deal and haven't looked back.
Woohoo! Alrighty, so Bruce, will you help everybody here to understand, given your expertise, your skills, your talents, and your experience, what is it that you see in Positive Prime that is of value? What has worked for you and what works for your clients? I'm just really fascinated to actually hear your perspective.
Well, and it's interesting too, because with that logical mind with computer programming, I've always been logical, looking at how everything works. But at the same time, everything that happened to me, what I refer to as woo-woo stuff, I come from the heart. So I've got this mind-heart balance. So I'm able to use over the years, it's also kind of honed my intuitive skills and that, because I can pick up on very subtle things, and a lot of times not even what they're saying. It's, kind of between the words and sentences and that. But I'm able to use both my mind and heart to guide our coaching sessions. And that's where I saw with Positive Prime, it's a form of meditation. but also with the positive images in the statements, it's bypassing the conscious filter in our mind. And that's the biggest struggle, and that people have always, I mean, I used to, years ago, tried different affirmation statements like I'm good at this, or I'm successful with this. And, conscious mind kicks says, no, you're not. Who are you kidding? And so everybody's struggled with that. And that's where I love with your platform. It's designed to bypass the conscious filter and, get in. Not only, for me, this is not only is it logical, but also it goes right into the heart center of your being. And you are working kind of like The Secret. I mean, you're putting the intention out there, and the universe, or whatever you want, angels, everybody's working for you. And I love the example that you talk about in our certification program, that everybody's seeing the image of the iceberg floating in the water. Okay, that what's above the water is your conscious mind. That's what you can see. Well, below it is even bigger, and that's your subconscious mind. And then I love how you tie it in with the water that the iceberg is in is your other than conscious mind. And that's where I always visualized like our network of angels working together. It's like all this giant internet of all the angels and whatnot. And but that is another, I love that example of the water. That's how we're all connected. That's when we put the intention out there, it flows through the water and it goes out there and it connects and brings everybody together to manifest. And it's just awesome.
I absolutely love that, Bruce. And what I am really enamored by is that you had a nearly 40-year career as a software engineer, electronics engineer for a really conservative traditional company like Boeing, and yet you can actually talk about angels and this incredible energy field that we all exist in. It means that most of us who have these judgments about others, oh look, engineers or accountants or lawyers, or they're never going to get the spiritual side and how it actually interacts with the neuroscience and the positive psychology. So given that most of the people who are on this call have already seen your Actualize Full Potential session, and indeed, we've already got a message there from Lisa Weeks. I love it, love it, love it, right? I'm going to actually show it. I think I'll get my behind the scenes it working, and then we'll share the screen. Whilst that's happening, can you please try to articulate for everybody, what do you hope that they actually get out of watching the session? And when you guide somebody, are you a little bit like me and you say, hey, watch it slowly and really luxuriate in it, let it flow over you and through you, be really mindful, enjoy the entire 15 minutes. And then as you become much more comfortable and you're internalizing the positive statements, ensure that you've uploaded your own photographs, et cetera, et cetera. I want to hear from your own perspective. What do you hope that the people who are viewing your session experience as a result of investing that daily practice?
Well, the Actualize Your Full Potential session, because all of our sessions have themes. So mine was showing successful people also helping kids. So all of the statements reinforce the successful mindset and just helping each other to succeed. And that's one of the things, we're always kind of taught the win-lose scenario, but it's a win-win. You need to look for win-win solutions. And that's what I love with, coaching people on that. It's kind of making that shift so that, just because we might be in the same line of business, that doesn't mean we're going to, be enemies or, competing against each other. We can work, find ways to work together on that. And that's ultimately what I want people to get out of it, is that it's there's many ways to succeed, and ultimately the best way to succeed is to help each other. And the other session, Unlimited Potential, although it can be used by anybody, the images and statements are geared towards students to give them a little more encouragement and support. As we've all been students before, we know what it's like, and everybody can use a little more encouragement and support. So that's that particular session. You know, that's what that was designed for. And I use Positive Prime with, you know, my coaching business as well as friends and family too, but it's a combination of just working with people to help them get past these the ants, the automatic negative thoughts, and this negative self-talk, and becoming more positively primed for success. And that we live in a negative world, really. This is we're bombarded with the news and everything, all this negative stuff going on, as well as most of the thoughts in our mind are negative. So we got to have a way of bringing us back into a positive state. So that's what the focus is.
That's really beautiful. We're playing your Actualize, your full potential session now. If you were to share the 3 most brilliant insights that you've had that have really helped you to become, you know, incredibly balanced, financially free, incredibly comfortable and content in retirement, and yet just fired up and gathering momentum in actually building an entire like second phase or second act. What are those 3 really awesome suggestions or pieces of advice or wisdom you would share with all of us?
Oh, let's see, where do I start? Well, well, it's interesting because, like I mentioned before, since I've always been kind of a positive person growing up, and early on in that year-long hospital stay, we had a couple surgeries that didn't go very well. So I had a visit from the hospital chaplain, came into my room, and she comes in with this pillow and says, "Okay, I know you must be upset and everything that the surgery didn't go well. So here, take this pillow and, you know, hit me with it and yell at me." You know, I'm sitting up in bed and I'm kind of sinking back into the bed, and it's like, "I'm good, really." And so she's trying to get me to do that. It's like, "I don't need to." And so she stops, like, "Really?" It says, "No." It says, I'm not hanging on to negative energy. My body needs positive energy to heal. So I don't accept the negative energy in that." And she was really taken back. But the Positive Prime, obviously, that really helps and amplifies and reinforces that positive state. And it's I don't know, it's just over the years and stuff with the different personal development workshops and books and everything that I've gone through, I realized that it's not to my benefit to hang on to the negative and be upset about things. So I mean, I'm not saying that I don't get upset, but I don't hang on to it. I don't unpack and live there, type of thing. But it's very infrequent. And sometimes to my detriment, I say some things that, or confront or call people out on certain things, and that once in a while, and it got me in trouble at work one time. But the whole process is just relaxing and enjoying life. And it says it's one of the things that if you're living in fear, you're afraid of the future. This is, and you regret and everything while you're looking back in the past, which you can't change. You can't change the past or the future. You just have to be present and enjoy the present. So that's what I've focused, try to stay focused on, is just enjoy the moment and with those around you and that.
I love that. So important, and so important actually right now, where there's so much trauma and turmoil and tragedy. Quite frankly, it behooves us to notice what is working. I try to really notice who is being kind and thoughtful and considerate, who is actually serving in really supportive ways. It helps me to focus on that because that's what I see more of. And of course, I then find that that's my energy. And naturally, I draw to me more helpful, thoughtful, kind, considerate, supportive human beings into my world. And that's, I live in this fairyland or this angel land of all of these positive, prime, gorgeous human beings. Bruce, let's go to your second really important piece of advice or a suggestion that you just want everybody to take to heart.
Well, just identify what you really want in life and set your goals and your intentions and make them positive. Don't say, I don't want this. You need to frame and phrase things in the positive state as if they already exist. It's putting the energy out there as if it's already now, it's happened. And that's what is really powerful, because our mind is like a supercomputer. It can do so many different things, including, think about all of the things that it's controlling in our body. But the one thing it cannot do, your mind cannot distinguish the difference between thought and reality. And our subconscious typically controls your thoughts. So we need to control what we're feeding into our subconscious mind. That includes all of the negative news stuff and being around negative people. So just being around and positive people, as well as taking in positive, energy and thoughts and everything, just to stay as positive as you can and move towards your goals with a positive expectation. So one of the phrases I like to say is, God can't steer a parked car. You can pray all you want, but you need to get in motion too. So, and it's a matter of that positive forward motion and that, and pay attention to the guides and different, signposts that say when to turn and what to do next and that, because they're there, but most people aren't paying attention to them. And that's
I absolutely love that. That is brilliant. And I concur 1000%. Bruce, one of the things that I love about Positive Prime, and when you're a subscriber and you're uploading your own photographs, you're editing a particular session, a lot of us actually read an amazing self-help book, or we go to an extraordinary seminar, and we really want to absorb and apply, but very often we don't actually internalize the messages. A lot of us know what to do, but we don't do what we know. And we understand in Positive Prime that when you put photographs of yourself into the content, and photographs that are important to you into the content, it helps your other than consciousness and subconsciousness to actually internalize the messages so they become a part of your identity, which makes it a lot easier for them to be integrated into your actions and your forward behaviors. And the part of the process where you go about thinking, what is it that I want to upload? What are the items on my bucket list? What am I actually truly grateful for? I go around taking photographs of the local area that I live in because I absolutely love this exquisite natural environment. And I see these photographs because they're part of my private collection and they're personal and meaningful to me. And it reminds me just how blessed I am to be here. But what it does is it constantly triggers me to internalize the messages. Otherwise, they're just more of what I know, but I don't do anything with, right?
Right.
And there is nothing more exquisite than being in motion. So you saying, I've never heard that, God can't help steer a parked car. I love that. It's so true. And I'm often saying just one tiny little baby step forward, one tiny little baby step forward. But often most people don't spend enough time getting clear about what it is that they actually want to experience, the lifestyle they want to live. And I think that they want everything now rather than knowing that it's going to unfold over the next 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 years. I live in this magnificent house on this absolutely extraordinarily spectacular estate in the most gorgeous natural environment. But that was by design 10 years ago when I decided I wanted a completely location independent business, 1000% online, so I could live anywhere in the world of my choice. And I could actually be surrounded by all that feeds my soul, which is millions of trees. And because I'm a Pisces, I have to see the water. So we have this spectacular view of the ocean and of the Noosa River. And it's important to me. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. They can stay in downtown Manhattan and, you know, be in all the chic bars in Soho if that's what they want. There's no judgment, right? But most people don't get clear about what is actually important to them.
Yeah, that's
Right?
so true. Yeah, I mean, because most people, of course, now it's a little bit different in the environment, the world we live in, but most people would spend more time planning their vacation than they do what their future. What, you know, what are your goals? What's important to you? And then it's also, you know, sharing with your partner and stuff. Okay, what, you know, sharing the goals and dreams and that with each other and helping each other to succeed. But yeah, this is the uploading. I mean, Positive Prime basic platform is amazing, but personalizing it with your own images, it's like exponentially more powerful. And it puts you see images of you or places you want to be. And, you know, I highly recommend if you've got a image of like a vacation destination, Photoshop yourself in that image and put that in your session and that to customize it, because your mind sees these images that are important to you and it treats it as already happened, and your subconscious seeks to prove things true and try to find evidence to confirm that, yeah, that's true. And it puts your subconscious into motion. Essentially, whatever your transformation or your goals and dreams are, it winds up pretty much being on autopilot. Your subconscious is going to put the energy out there. And it's, I mean, we've had several people share, including yourself, and that different things you put in there, and within a few months, you wind up getting an invite to be a speaker or, you know, attend something or go somewhere. It's just amazing how fast it can happen, but you also have to, you know, believe that it's, you know, this is going to happen and put it out there. And, but the personalization, I love it. This is put as much of your goals and dreams in. And that's what's beautiful is all of the sessions that you add into your account, the images that you upload, you can customize and personalize every session that you have in your account. It's not just one. And, you know, you rotate through, and that's the other part I love about Positive Prime is you could watch the same session over and over and over again, and it's never going to be the same because it reshuffles the sequence of the slides. So your brain is not anticipating that, oh, I just saw, you know, a person cooking there and the next one is going to be a car. No, it's different, which really helps to bypass that conscious filter. But yeah, personalizing is, you know, huge benefit.
Thank you. I love that. Bruce, before we go, tell us, what do you think your third most important piece of advice or suggestion is?
Well, just to, well, give it a chance, give it a try, use it, and just, take note of what, one of the things that I talk about on like identifying the automatic negative thoughts in these ants. Take kind of an inventory of how you physically and mentally feel right now, and rate yourself from 1 to 10, where 1 is like, I couldn't feel any worse, and 10 is, I feel amazing. So then put today's date on that, set it aside, and then, as like when you're noticing these negative thoughts, just say, ant, cancel that and reframe it as a positive thought, but also using positive prime. And do that for a few weeks. Then come back and rate yourself again and see what how much you shifted. It really is amazing how fast just giving it a try, keeping an open mind and pursuing your dreams.
I love that, Bruce. Giving it a try is just so important, isn't it? I'll tell you, when I first became acutely aware of my thinking and my thoughts, like I was the observer witnessing what my thinking process was, it was so uncomfortable. It was alarming and jarring, and I was shocked at how pessimistic, at how negative, how angry, how frustrated, and I could go on and on and on. And it actually really and truly freaked me out. And it also really, it made me feel helpless. And one of the fascinating things is that I originally developed the very first, what we call a session, because I did know that we can't focus on results as they are, otherwise we will keep perpetuating that which is. And I had to almost scratch the vinyl, the record that was playing, and completely interrupt or distract myself. And the only way I could do it was actually to sit in front of the computer. I found that I actually developed a really intense focus talent. Like, I'm very focused. People can often remark about how concentrated I am. And I think that the tools actually helped me to really become a lot more laser focused when necessary. But I would sit there and I would, the very first session I created with 3,000 flashcards. And I thought, if all I do is think about what it is that I'm seeing, I can't be thinking other thoughts, right? There can't be this overlap. And so I'm going to try and quieten down or overpower all of this really natural negativity that I have. And I had been schooled in such a way and lived life in such a way that I had to focus on what was wrong because I was a problem solver. And I then had to actually devise solutions as a management consultant. And so I seemed to actually look at the world and find what I could critique. And I used to think, oh, that was constructive criticism, but nonetheless, it was still criticism. It was still finding fault. It wasn't finding what's magnificent, what's amazing, what's really working. And so for me, what I've probably allowed myself to do with a lot of gentle nurturing is just try it, as you say, just try it on, right? I don't know if kinesiology is going to work for me, but I may as well try a couple of treatments. I don't know if chiropractic is for me versus osteopathy versus physiotherapy. Just try it. Just try it. See how you feel. So if you were going to ask people, given that you've really been living this double life, the engineer at Boeing plus the 30 odd years of coaching people, helping people on your own spiritual and personal development journey, inspiring people, being involved in all sorts of different either direct sales or network marketing opportunities as an entrepreneur, what are the three things that you would say to people you believe are imperative for the majority in terms of their health?
Quality, well, nutrition, quality wellness products and diet, as well as, I mean, a positive mindset is critical because it's the mind and body are connected. So when one is in a negative state, the other one's going to be impacted as well. So we need to stay, you know, in a positive state, both mentally and physically. And that's where Positive Prime is great. I mean, it puts you in that positive state. And so we got the physical, you know, diet and just doing whatever exercise you can, mental state, you know, Positive Prime, just loading your mind up with positive, you know, whether it's books, webinars, whatever positive you can get in there. And just staying, I guess you say, keeping the dream alive. This is so many, as we got older and stuff, we forgot how to dream. Our goals, we just started squelching and stomping out our goal. Well, cancel that, that's never going to happen. And it's like, no, go back and identify these goals. And this is, and part of it is that you weren't in a positive state. You need to be in a positive state. And the, you know, like one of the things too, that people will create physical vision or dream boards, but a lot of times you're in a negative state when you're looking at them. And that's technically, it's creating negative energy around it. So whereby with Positive Prime, the way it's designed, it puts you in a positive state. So it's like a digital vision board on steroids is the way I put it. And you can then, after you're in a positive state, then you can look at your dream board and you're, you know, if you've got it, but it's so much. I mean, this is your physical health, mental health, and just, you know, keeping the dream, staying a dreamer, open-minded, and setting goals. And even if you don't hit your goal, just, you know, reassess and, you know, maybe tweak something and keep going. It's not, it's like one of the statements and example of the ants is, gee, I know I lost 10 pounds, but I really wanted to lose 15. Okay, well, you're focusing on the negative part of that. Celebrate the 10 pounds that you lost and, you know, and keep going. But it's celebrate the wins. So, yeah.
That is absolute gold. It is. It's absolute gold. Celebrating the wins in every single day, in every hour. Like, I'll tell you, it gets you into the slipstream of noticing just how wonderful you really are and how much progress you're making and the contribution you're making, right? It's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And that's, you don't realize well, one of the things over the years, every hospital, or every surgery and hospital stay that I'd have, I would wind up getting some divine message. And there would be something that directly because of that, whether it was from surgery or recovery period, it benefited somebody. It resulted in a positive impact. So that's where I was kind of like, okay, well, okay, what's the positive thing that's going to come out of this? You know, let's just keep going. But if you don't mind, I'd like to share one little quick story. Maybe some people have heard this. It's the story of two wolves. An old Cherokee Indian is teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to the boy. It's a terrible fight. It is between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. He continued, the other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, which wolf will win? The old Cherokee simply replied, the one you feed. So my question to you is, which wolf are you feeding? Start feeding the good one with the positive prime.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Is there anybody who has a really important question? They have this insatiable appetite. They need Bruce to answer it.
Not everybody at once. No.
Bruce, I have a question.
Yep.
When you do visualization, something I'm reading, and maybe this is where you can answer it. Is this best to do with this? Like I was reading at your day's end, no matter how the day went, to replay the day like you would have liked it to be. Because we tend to take the negative to bed. We're told to take our problems to bed, and I'm reading this for the last couple of years on and off to replay it the way you would have liked it to be. And then I've been watching Positive Prime right before I go to sleep. So I may watch a couple of episodes. So I'm taking all this into my subconscious. And I know it has an effect, but I want to see what, maybe Kim, you've done some studies in this as well, because when we take positive energy into our sleep, that's our subconscious. That's 99% of who we are. Is this could not be anything but a benefit.
Yeah.
I'm not a TV watcher. I turned the TV off many years ago. I don't listen to the news or anything. I'm really focusing on who I am as a person. But anyway, your response to that, if I may.
Well, yeah, that's great, because I have what would be called a gratitude journal. So every morning, at night, I write down at least 3 things that I'm grateful for that day, and at least 3 successes, and they can be small and stuff. It could be, okay, I mowed the lawn, I did laundry, I finished writing an article or whatever it is. But you have the 3 things that you're grateful for, 3 things that you're identified as successes for that day, and then just something you appreciate about what you did that day. Then for the next day, on the next page, I write down what my intentions are for tomorrow. And I do that before I go to bed. So I'm reviewing the day, kind of like you're talking about, and I identify different things that I'm grateful for and my successes, and that's what I focus on. And then setting with that positive energy, setting the intentions for the next day. And it's then in the next morning, then reviewing those intentions and writing out, a little more about my goals and that. So yeah, I mean, it is definitely going to sleep at night on a positive note. And if you can identify what your goals are for the next day and stuff while you're sleeping, your subconscious kind of works on how you working on a plan for that to transpire. And that. So yeah, good question.
It's an awesome question, Richard, and I'll add a little bit if you don't mind, Bruce. I would say, I do say to all of my clients, it is a practice that I do. In that pre-being wide awake stage, whatever the time of the day that is, for me, it's around about 4 o'clock in the morning. I actually imagine the conversations that I'm having after something has already gone well. So for example, I might literally imagine myself picking up the phone and saying, hey, guess what, Nate? That beautiful video class that we just did with Bruce was awesome. There was a very nice energy about it. There was some real value. I love what I do. I love interviewing amazing people. And then that's actually going through my brain. That's who I'm being as I come to a situation. Or I will imagine out in the future, I don't know, let's just say one of my goals is to do a little piece of clinical research with Positive Prime for people who have cognitive impairment issues or stroke rehabilitation, intervention related research. So that's a long way off, and that's very expensive for a tiny little baby entrepreneur like me. But I will have these conversations as if I'm talking to my advisors or my husband and say, hey, you know what? The research is going really well. And then leave it up to the universe to put the people, the places, the circumstances, and the situations just in the right place at the right time. And guess what? There's infinite intelligence. They're going to figure out how to make sure that it's in the best interest of my higher self and everybody else involved. And it's going to be good for Positive Prime with the right timing. Now, that actually takes a lot of mental discipline. It also takes practice. So what happens usually now is that I'll watch a Positive Prime first thing in the morning, and certainly at least once or twice at another time during the day and at the end of the day. And I have watched so much Positive Prime. Positive Prime plays. It plays without me even seeing it these days, right? And that's how, you know, I've internalized it all. And I look at it and I think to myself, please God, Reiki energy, guides, guardians, ascended masters, psychic surgeons, come here. And I just want you to know that I am so very grateful, and thank you for allowing all of this to be the truth for me. And I'm so delighted that I get to experience it over the next year or two or three. And I'm just so thank you for just allowing me to experience it all with grace and speed and ease and joy. And I'm talking to Positive Prime, right, whilst it's flowing in front of me. But I'm not begging the universe to be in alignment with my energy, which is this expectation that I need to beg because it might not happen. It's a different energy. It's like, thank you for all that is transpiring, with this interesting knowing that it is actually unfolding. It really is. And it's going to be good no matter what, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that helps, but I think that thinking things through in advance and pretending in your mind as if it's already happened and you're actually talking about it in the way that you wish that it'll unfold, there is a magic in that, right? There really is. There's a magic in that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that on the way you phrase the statements, one of the things is, I'm very happy and grateful now that, and you phrase it as if it's already happened. And it's very powerful in that. And I noticed one of the questions, was it that Betty asked, this is going into more detail on how I do my coaching and the intuitive portion. Well, it says that that's what's interesting. It says that over the years, everything kind of honed my intuitive skills. So it's like, the way I put it is during a coaching session, or I'm talking with someone that, whether it's something they said, how they said it, or what they said, I'll get this energetic hit. And it's like, wait, back up. We need to address that, and let's focus on that. And or I had a friend that a few years ago changed her profile picture on Facebook, and immediately I happened to be online when she posted it, and it's like huge negative. I got a huge negative energy wave hit me, and it's like so I called her up right away. It's like, I don't know what's wrong with that photo and that, and says, well, so and so was in it and I cropped him out, and he was someone that was really negative, and it's like, you got to change it because it's still part of that photo. You know, that negative energy and that. So I get these intuitive hits that just like, okay, you know, whether it's something they said or something they didn't say.
What I have also found about developing your intuition, Bruce, is that it requires being brave and courageous enough to actually very gently express that to your friend and then having no attachment to whether they want to take that on board or not. And the more and more you do that as you're developing your intuitive abilities, the more you'll actually receive the feedback that will tell you whether your hunches or your insights or your instincts or the way that you feel in your heart, whether that's actually really you tapped into source and getting a very pure message or not. And I think the more you practice this, the way that it unfolds is you're rewarded with more. So I used to actually be, I don't know what the right word is, embarrassed that I would get these intuitive hunches and these very instinctive ideas. And it was like I would get these downloads, but I wouldn't tell anybody because I was so afraid of what they would think of me if I wasn't right. You know, like
same with me in that. It was just like, okay, is that really this, or is this something else going on? And like you're saying, it says the more you use it, it's kind of like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And one of the other things that I discovered I'm able to do is the emotion code, identifying and releasing trapped emotions. And I've been doing this with some family and friends, and I'm able to connect remotely in that, and I'll get these energetic hits and stuff on something, and I'll pursue it, and I'll send them an email kind of summary of what I identified and released and different things that I was, kind of explanations or whatever. And some of the comments like, how did you know that? That just happened last week or what? It's like, I don't know. So, but I mean, it's almost like you're in a restaurant and you're just offering, you want ketchup? And it's like, it's like, you're just offering it to me. It's like, so I'm just offering what I received. This is hopefully you'll take it and use it to help yourself, but otherwise I'm just sharing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And to your earlier point, Bruce, you're just giving it a go and you're trialing it. And I don't know about you, but for me, I found that I was really helping and encouraging and supporting and assisting a lot of my friends and a lot of my family. And some of them, quite frankly, didn't even really want it. So I learned to then seek permission to actually give my advice or my suggestions. And then what I actually discovered was that I gathered more confidence, and then I was able to actually stand in my own power and offer it as a service. And I feel very comfortable being paid for it. And I've now been doing it for years and years and years, as you have. And so as people get to know me, they get to know, like, and trust me, and then they can decide for themselves whether they want to engage with me on that level. But as they get to know, like, and trust me, they know that there are different levels at which they could engage, So the other thing is, as a massage therapist, I know a lot of you know that I invented hot stone massage. As I'm massaging, I can actually choose to actually integrate a loving, healing, divine energy through my hands and harness really Reiki energy or chi or another universal divine energy. And I can actually offer that in and of and by itself, and it can be of benefit. And people say to me, you have the most healing hands. And I go, well, actually, no, I'm just the conduit facilitating divine love to you, right? But do I need to promote that? No, because some people are just going to go, what? You're just an osteopath doing some manipulation of some soft tissues, and you're moving around the tendons and the ligaments. And so I think that what happens is that we develop rapport with our clients, and then we can go further, deeper, faster. And that's how it unfolds. Yeah. But you got to give it a go. You got to try it out.
Yeah. No, it's need to rewind a little bit, because you glazed over something that a lot of people may not realize, that you created the hot stone massage, the lithotherapy. That's phenomenal. Plus all of your other stuff, and you're a phenomenal energy, healer in your own right. And so it's wonderful to be associated with you and have you as a friend too. But
well, Bruce, I will tell you, I have trained this is for everybody else, like literally thousands of therapists all over the world, in the Himalayas, in the Middle East, et cetera, all throughout Asia, Australia, New Zealand, et cetera, right? My point is that I have come to know who is actually the real deal, right? I have come to actually observe for long enough who is congruent and who is in alignment and who can walk their talk and who actually is quite gifted. And it's one of the reasons why I love collaborating with you. I love sharing the work that you're doing in the world, because the funny thing is that I have this, I don't know, I have this special gift now of knowing who's the real deal. And you're the real deal, right? People who actually have heart, right? So that is one of the things. We've got to wrap it up because we've been going for about an hour. It's such a shame. Everybody is invited to reach out to Bruce, get to know him. He does have a lot of resources that you can tap into. Some of them are expensive. Some of them are very reasonably priced. They're all of value, by the way. I would definitely suggest that you watch his session, share his session, talk about his session with other people that you're talking about Positive Prime with. Just trial it, just see how it feels. Make sure though, if you're not yet a subscriber, upgrade your account, okay? And internalize the messages. Make sure that you click that edit button and you add some images, you develop your private collection, and you will feel an energetic difference with the way that you consume and engage in the experience when you see lots of your own personal photographs integrated and co-mingling in the content.
Yes.
Alrighty.
That's two other quick things is that today I just launched my podcast channel. So it's live on my website. Links to get to the podcast, and I'll be also uploading the video part to my YouTube channel. But yeah, just actualizeyourfullpotential.com. And I'm in the process of writing a book on, surprisingly enough, the first one is going to be Mindset Reset.
Does it still work if you don't put in your own pictures?
Oh, absolutely.
Great question, Arlene. Thank you for asking. Yes, you will be positively primed. If you would like accelerated and amplified transformation with respect to the actual content, then personalizing makes it exponentially more powerful. That's just actually scientific fact. So for $9.99 a month, I think it's a really valuable investment in yourself. I'll give you an example. I have been through surgery, as most people know, for a heart permanent pacemaker. People bought me cakes and donuts and like all sorts of comfort sugar, like when they came to visit and tell me how much they love me. And I ate it all, right? So I put on a little bit of weight because I haven't been able to move or exercise in the first 6 weeks after surgery. I'm about to start watching some weight loss sessions. Now, I'm not overly overweight, but I actually want my other than consciousness to start to internalize those messages in those weight loss sessions. I don't watch the weight loss sessions on a daily basis, 365 days a year. I'm not always needing to lose weight, quite frankly. I actually really love the way that I am when I'm in my optimal health state. However, I know my other than consciousness and my subconsciousness and my unconsciousness will absorb and play with the content at a whole different, more potent level when I see photographs of me and my spouse and my nieces and nephews and my parents and all that I'm grateful for, my cat and the environment that I love living in. When I see it in that content, it is really, truly important. So the reality is that a free membership is fine. But if you're serious about a result that you actually want to get, then it's worth you investing either the $20 a month, which allows you to share it with other people, or the $10 a month. Like, quite frankly, it's really not that much for you to get power that is way beyond $10 a month. Like, seriously, that is just me telling you the truth, right? However, I actually know that we have thousands of members who are in situations where we're working through charities, and these people literally cannot afford $10 a month. We have a scholarship program, we have a sponsorship program, because I want everybody to internalize all the messages in all the sessions. So I want everyone to be a subscriber. But at the same time, I don't ever want to run Positive Prime for profit purely and only. I want it to be a part of my social enterprise ethics, and I want people to be able to use it even if they don't pay to be a subscriber. So that's the truth. Bruce is a beautiful human being, as are hundreds of others contributors, and they've all got important messages to share. But if you want to be able to internalize Bruce's message and you want to amplify and accelerate it, the bottom line is, yes, you have to personalize.
Yeah. This is, and yeah, if you can afford it, upgrade and personalize it. Absolutely. And that's one of the things too, is that since I do have 2 sessions, if you sign up and aren't currently a member on that, or you haven't joined yet, is by using my code, you get both of my sessions added to your account. So yeah, it's wonderful. This is one of the things I love, is catching someone doing something right and complimenting them and stuff, because you don't know what people are going through. And so part of that is being in yourself in a positive state and helping to bring that out in other people.
Beautiful. Alrighty, Bruce, it's been delightful. Thank you everybody for your gorgeous energy and sending us all your high vibes and each other. I love being live and in person. I do actually think that there is this. So before we go, let's just wish everybody who's actually here now, let's wish them all the very best. Let's wish for them and say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for miraculous healings that we can't even really see or know about. Thank you, thank you, thank you for letting us see what we need to see and hear what we need to hear and do what we need to do. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for magic and serendipity and synchronicity and coincidences that are absolutely wonderful being a part of all of our lives. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for helping us to all be our very best. Love you all. Ciao.
Great. Bye. Thank you.